Hey y'all, thank you for joining us for this part 2 of our very special bonus episodes on Jedi Fallen Order with Jacqueline at JBandos from Twitter. When we left off part 1, we were talking about the themes of acceptance in this story and how that relates to Cal, Merrin, and Star Wars as a whole. Enjoy! I do have my own issues with the fact that you're just killing living things for most of the game.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's some animals, they're just chilling.
Yeah, I know. Just slice them in half. It's cool. It's cool.
But I think this game does handle potentially better than anything except maybe Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
The concept of acceptance rather than trying to change something.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have that with Ezra, not only with his own parents, but also with the death of Kanan.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we have it with Kanan himself in his journey to becoming a quote-unquote fully fledged Jedi Knight.
I'm gonna cry again.
God, the cast of Rebels is so goddamn good.
I know.
I know.
Oh my god. Okay.
But in this, and then we
I'm gonna
have
cry
it
about
with,
Kanan again. It's
with
fine.
the theme of Merrin and Cal's relationship. We have it ham-handed as it was with Cere and Trilla's relationship. And we have it at the end with kind of the ultimate end of the story where Cal is like, it is not my job to try and bring things back as they were because I can't change the past.
And also, that's something that Merrin clued him into. If you talk to Merrin when you bring her to Bogano, he explains the plan to her, and she's like, so these children wouldn't be in direct harm's way unless you found them, and trained them as Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the idea, and he starts trying to justify it, but is clearly now thinking more critically about the plan after she brings it up. So it's, I think, great that it's her that brings up this plan's flaws after, because otherwise we've had just really Cere and Cal looking at it.
Yes.
But now that Cal knows that he has the ability to either ensure the same trauma that was afflicted on him and Merrin could happen to more children, or he can ensure that it doesn't, or at least it wouldn't from this particular path, that he has the power to prevent a certain specific harm to these Force-using children. It's then that he decides, this isn't up to me. We shouldn't be the one to make this decision, and destroys the holocron, which I thought was great. But also, I have issues with the fact that there are other Star Wars stories that have this Jedi Youngling list. This makes it 3 of them. And
yes.
the second one that's post Order 66.
Right.
The first one is with Cad Bane in early season 2 of Clone Wars.
Yep.
The other is the beginning, the second arc of Charles Soule's Vader comic, where DeCosta Nu finds one, and then Vader destroys it himself, and then this takes place after that. And it's another list of the Force-sensitive children. I'm like, the Jedi Archives really gotta secure their shit.
Right?
It's very poorly established.
I know.
Their IT security is shoddy at best.
It's not great.
Which, yeah, it's not great. Cordova, was able to just grab a list of all the Force-sensitive children, and then
as you
right
do
after Order 6, then presumably later, because I think Cordova's at least implied to have done all the stuff before Order 66. And then after that, not long at all after the Order, Jocasta Nu sneaks into the archives and she's the librarian, so I get that she has admin privileges to wipe everything, but there's still stuff in the archives that that even the Grand Inquisitor is like looking through stuff. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
I have so many questions about it. You know, it's just what's going on here?
The password to every Jedi Temple computer is password.
Like literally, oh my god, every single station is.
Have you tried light side 1, 2, 3?
God damn it!
Is it guessed?
Oh god. All right. I think to kind of round out our conversation about Marin. So we got two listener questions, which I think are maybe quick
related.
answers. Yeah. So the first one is from Jason Flat at FlatterU, which is incredible. Who wants to know if we ship Cal and Marin and Matt Borgard, again, one of our lovely Patreon patrons. Was there actually any confirmation in the game that Marin was queer? Which I will answer that one first. There's not confirmation.
It's ambiguous, but in a way that skews queer.
Yeah.
Yes.
And about for Jason's question, I think we all have the same answer, which we can answer on 3. 1, 2, 3. No.
Oh.
Like, not that I have like you can.
It would be like I
Yeah.
mean it would be. I'm not saying it wouldn't be cute with the right. Like, I do think the actors have the right amount of chemistry to build onto that, but
Yes.
I don't think that there's enough of it there in the game for me to be invested in it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And also, I just have very particular feelings about stuff like the hero gets a girlfriend out of nowhere without trying.
Yep.
Especially when it's milk toasty white boy hero like Cal. As much as I really love Cal, again,
Yes.
Cal's a good boy.
Exactly.
But also, like, let's rely less on tried and true genre conventions and tropes, please.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
couldn't agree more.
I completely agree about their chemistry, and I think I actually really ship them as like bros.
Yes.
Like I got very
Sibling
Sebezra
shipping.
vibes,
They're
which is
Sibs. They're 4
Yes.
Sibs.
yeah.
Yes.
And Sebezra, Sabine, and Ezra from Star Wars Rebels is a romantic ship that I absolutely hate, but I love.
They
their
are
dynamic.
siblings. Are you?
Yeah.
I get really like mad about Sebezra for like just the fact that Sabine shows literally zero interest in men
Yup.
the entire show. She's heavily, I would argue, like not just queer coded, but just specifically lesbian coded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then there's the fact that like she brushes off Ezra's attempted flirts with her, like in the first season, and he drops it. Like he drops it, and then from then on, they're just like good sibs.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They're their lesbian older sister with dumbass. I don't know. I go back and forth between thinking Ezra's himbo straight guy to just a like chaotic bisexual.
Yes.
But
Agree.
I love both of those options
Agree.
for him, honestly.
Ezra's got big himbo energy.
Yes.
But I really love seeing that, and even like we were talking before we started recording about how Filoni handles characters. If you kept up with Rebels Recon back when Rebels was airing, the final one, Dave was talking about how important he thought it was to that Sabine and Ezra's relationship as a young guy and a young woman wasn't romantically dimensional,
Mm-hmm.
but it was still an incredibly strong relationship that they were family.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's exactly what I was just thinking about.
Yeah.
I think
Alright.
we wanted to talk about like a few smaller things that we enjoyed about this game. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Oh, wait, Chris, did you want to talk about Weird Force shit first, or?
That can be as part of the things that I like.
Okay. Well, I'll let you talk about Weird Force shit, because if you've ever listened to this pod, before. Weird Force shit is our kind of our bread and butter.
Weird Force shit is is one of the reasons why Rebels is my personal favorite over the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
I get that. I do.
and I love
the other
love
is
the
consistent found family stuff.
Yeah. And I love the concept of the Zepho and how they call the Force the life wind. It is very...
Yes.
Their culture was really interesting, and I hope that we get somebody with the range to write it properly. Because between the fact that they are consistently referred to as without gender, the fact that their relationship to the Force is so natural and based kind of like almost opposite of the Night Sisters in that it's based very much in just like going with the flow of nature on their planet. I think there's so much to mine there, and I hope we see it.
And regarding that, like, I really like when that we have different. I mean, on one hand, I just love actually seeing some unique cultures that don't conform to either a westernized bias or an Orientalist view of spirituality, but we see like some kind of unique culture that views this universe, this galaxy it's in a unique light. I mean, the Night Sisters don't say the Force; they use magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's the fact that, as you just said, the Zepho called the Force the life wind, and those who can use it are sages.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't read the Thrawn stuff, but I am aware that their relationship to the Force is unique and very dependent on circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, I'm bringing Charles Soule in again, but Rise of Kylo Ren, like the Knights of Ren call using the dark side of the Force touching the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the way that the Zepho like fell is at least portrayed from how I understood it. Not that they were consumed by the dark side, just like because they used the dark side, dark side bad, blah blah blah, but more they became arrogant and used their power more to enforce some kind of inequality. I mean, I'm saying that because they were, from what we understand, some kind of empire.
Mm-hmm.
And so established on populated worlds, so one could make the connection that they were colonizers using labor from off-world to feed the heart of their empire.
Yeah, totally.
But it reminds me a lot of the Rakata from Legends.
Mm-hmm.
How they were a massive empire that fell in part because of their arrogance and over-reliance on the Force as a tool to gain power rather than to help others and serve life.
Yeah, and that sense of hubris also just like echoes the Fall of the Jedi as well.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so no, there's oh gosh, there's so much to unpack there, and I just I said,
I hope we get somebody
want
with
the
the
lore.
range to unpack it.
Mm-hmm. Give it to
Someone
me.
with the range.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
I'm also just big into fallen advanced civilizations.
Oh, yeah.
As a thing in fiction in general. Like, can I get at least some novels about the Protheans in Mass Effect, please? Like,
Yo, seriously.
Yes.
But I haven't played
Javik
Halo
is
in a long time.
great.
But
I love.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah, Halo has the Forerunner trilogy of books, right?
Yeah, so I was going to say I haven't played Halo in a long time, and I know that they have actually since explored the Forerunners in the game, but back when I was playing it and before it was being explored, I was like, oh my god, inject all of this into my veins.
Yeah, because there's the great mystery of how the civilization fell.
Yeah.
how that is shapes current life, how that might be a storytelling echo that foreshadows the current story or mirrors it in a way that shows the current path is different. It will be more rewarding or less rewarding. Anyway, yeah, I really love ancient civilization bullshit.
Yeah, I'm totally with you.
It's just so much fun. One small thing that I liked was that Cal's master was a Lasat.
Yeah.
I was so, if you listen to our discussion of Solo, I was so disappointed when Michael K. Williams couldn't come back to reshoot because his character was supposed to be a Lasat. Dryden Voss was supposed to be a Lasat, and then they didn't do that, and I was like, angry on like 5 different levels. Not that I don't love Paul Bettany, but like, guys, really,
I really love what Paul Bettany did. Like he hammed it up.
Yeah,
but Michael K. Williams in a Star Wars was something I was actually incredibly excited for when that casting was announced, and then reshoots, and then like 80% of the movie got reshot, and like Williams was off doing some other stuff, so they had to replace him entirely, which had to, I don't know,
Yeah, I think he was off filming. He was off filming When They See Us, wasn't he? Which, like, significantly more important, but also I would have
100%.
liked him also to be in Solo if that had been a thing.
That's my feelings about Jessica Henwick not being in Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker. Like, she was off doing her own thing. Like, she was getting paid. She was doing career stuff. Game of Thrones and Iron Fist. Well, arguably one of those is, well, actually both of those both shafted her in horrible ways. One got canceled, the other killed her character off unceremoniously. Anyway, we need more Jessica Henwick, and that's just my opinion.
I mean, that's a fact, really.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Loved. Seeing a Lasat in a video game. I just want more. I just want to see more Lasat sprinkled throughout. Like, I know they got like horribly genocided and stuff, but like, I'm a big fan. They're another culture that I would really, really love to know more about.
Exactly, because they also have that unique relationship with the Force that they talk about.
Yep.
And I don't know, I just do really like seeing things that originated in animation showing up in either live action or a photorealistic style.
Yes.
I like when certain things, like when we got Saw in Rogue One, that was huge to me. And I was immediately like very invested in Saw's development as a character because he was at least outwardly very different from how he was in the Clone Wars. So I'm like, there is a story here, and I know that they're probably going to fill this in, and they have. How that's been handled by the timeline and by certain writers is I'm very mixed on, and also know that I'm not the opinion to be the authority on that. But stuff like that, and when in Solo we got one Pike in Solo.
Yes.
Quay Tulsite, which I still have issues with because they were like, okay, this looks kind of like a Pike. They just put a mask and a cloak on a guy, and I'm like, the Pikes only have 2 fingers and a thumb, but this dude has 5 fingers on each hand, and his head is much too small.
Yeah.
I personally had to like justify it to myself, like, he's a cyborg of some sort, it's fine, just like don't think about it. but that is like a discrepancy where I was like, but it was still cool to see like this is live action, this feels like the other stories that I've been like invested in are like in the same universe and have some effect on what's happening. The Pikes are still like, at the top of the list for the major syndicates.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's issues with how Maul was just, like, slapped in there last second. But the fact that Maul's in there and not just alive, but alive and running crime syndicate stuff,
Yup.
that was one of the highlights of Solo for me, is just the fact that, for better or for worse, in some cases I do think some of the more out there Easter eggs might have watered things down and took away from, important story development stuff and character development stuff, but those aspects have always been cool to me.
Yeah, totally. I'm
Not
just
to
like,
mention
yes.
Ahsoka and Kanan's voices in Rise of Skywalker.
I cried. It's fine.
And not just them, but also Adi Gallia, Ayla Secura, and Luminara and Dooley's voices, all the voice actors from the Clone Wars.
Exactly. No,
And
that was so lovely.
That was huge. And, like, the first time I saw the movie, I was at an employee screening, like,
Oh, wow, yeah.
because I work in a movie theater, which means that for the time being, I am out of work because movie theaters are closed.
Oh, no.
But like the Wednesday before the opening Thursday night, I saw Rise of Skywalker with, like, I think 10 other employees, and I was the only one who was there, and I'm like, I, like, audibly said, "That's Ahsoka!" and then I'm like, that's Luminara? And I will admit I didn't recognize Adi Gallia quite, but I heard a French accent, and I'm like, that's Jen Hale as Ayla Secura.
Yes.
And then Kanan's, like prominent as Rey picks herself up, and so I'm like, this is huge to me. Just this little detail that's not going to be meaningful to most audiences is just, like, making this entire scene for me.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, I felt the exact same way when I was watching. So we got a question from Josh again, a patron who started the game but didn't quite get around to finishing it and wants to know if he should, and like if he should, like, what the reasoning for that is. And I'm like, yes, because I think, like, again, I haven't actually played the main campaign, but, like, the gameplay is fun, and also I think that two of the things I enjoyed the most was being able to actually run around a little bit on Ilum and Dathomir, because those are two of the
I really liked how the
planets.
levels were, like, always looped in on themselves.
Yes.
And were built to be revisitable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like No, I just want to say, just, like, being able to kind of, like, climb into these places that have really mostly only been in animation, and just to live in them a little bit. It was really, really cool. Like, I remember when we first get to Ilum, and you have that big sheet of ice door puzzle thingy, and I was just like, oh my god, that's that. And it's the little things.
Yeah. The fact that they have so much specifically from that arc of the Clone Wars with the younglings is so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, in terms of, I would say I personally just have to play a game in order to, like, really get the full experience. But if you're a person who's able to just watch a playthrough compilation that is the cutscenes plus most of the story stuff from gameplay, you'd still get the story. I do think, though, that just a lot of this game's good storytelling moments are environmental and come from playing it yourself. So I'd say if you've been interested in getting back to it and want to give it another shot, I say do it. But if the gameplay didn't vibe with you, there's nothing wrong in just looking up a different way to get the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that.
And similarly, we got another question from Andrew from the Patreon Slack. Do the pluses outweigh the minuses? I think the minuses being some of the things we talked about with fridging of Second Sister, and I think we didn't...
The plot being kind of...
Yeah, we didn't dive into the plot, like overall thoughts on the plot too much, but we did talk about how it's somewhat formulaic, particularly with Cal. But to me, they do.
I did like it being character driven. It just didn't do too much with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think, at least for me, I think the pluses do outweigh the minuses. I don't love this game as much as other people do. Like, I know many people loved this game. I did find the story somewhat boring, but I really enjoyed the gameplay. And, you know, in a sequel, I want to see a story that goes less predictable places.
Oh yeah, I have my personal sequels wish list.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's I would say it's overall a very positive game. I think it's, at least personally, the best Star Wars game I played that's story based.
Mm-hmm.
At least from I am a 23-year-old baby girl who has not really played some of the more classic Star Wars video games. Most of my experience comes from The Force Unleashed and KOTOR.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was a very good way to do a cinematic Star Wars story in a different medium that I do think is still accessible to more casual Star Wars fans. And while it does have some issues in terms of plot, I do think overall the gameplay and just level design and the combat and the good parts of the plot, which are, the good character moments, the good character development and relationships, I do think those greatly outweigh the negatives that we've talked about.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely, if you're interested, worth playing, absolutely. The last moment thing that I enjoyed that I'll mention, which might appeal to you, is I'm obsessed with Cal's lightsaber, like how it ends up at the end where you can split it in two.
I forgot.
It's like my favorite lightsaber in Star Wars right now. It's so fucking cool.
Especially just the fact that it is made from his old master's lightsaber, Jaro Tapal's lightsaber, and Seer's lightsaber.
Yep.
It's really cool.
It's he's fucking cool.
And then there's one way you can, there's 3 different ways to get a double-bladed lightsaber prior to the Ilum stuff. Mm-hmm. There's a workbench on Dathomir. There's a workbench on the origin tree on Kashyyyk right before the ninth sister boss battle. But if you go back after getting a Scomplink on BD1, who we haven't talked about, but BD1 is the best boy.
Precious baby.
Precious baby who I love and want to protect with my life.
Yes.
One of the ways you can get the double-bladed lightsaber is one of Cordova's workshops on Bogano. It's like he finds pieces of Cordova's lightsaber and adds them to his. And so I just got like a huge... With that being how I got the double-bladed lightsaber originally, I got even more of the generational stuff going into this. Yeah. And the fact that Cal does build a lightsaber that's ultimately unique to him is something that's really great.
Yeah.
What color did you guys pick?
I even before the end of Rise of Skywalker, I'm obsessed with yellow-bladed lightsabers.
Oh, same. I did it too.
Yes,
love it.
Yellow lightsabers. Also because Jaro Tapal's lightsaber looks a lot like Bastila Shan's, and so I just gravitated towards that immediately too.
That's
fun.
It.
All right, there was only one thing in terms of like what I didn't like the story that I wanted to mention quickly. Why did you invent the random evil Jedi when Quinlan Voss was right there? Why? I would have. I don't know. And I'll be interested to hear your thoughts, actually, Jacqueline, because I know that you like have very strong negative feelings about Dark Disciple. But
Here's
I feel
the
like
thing.
it
Here's
would have
the
been
thing.
so
I
interesting.
skimmed Dark Disciple because of those negative feelings, but the fact that Quinlan Voss in particular already has a connection to Dathomir makes that missed opportunity all the more a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And he could have been like driven crazy because of the combined stress of losing Ventress and losing the Jedi Order after he came back once. It was right there, guys.
Yeah.
Side note, folks, Obi-Wan helped Ventress fake her death because she didn't want to have to deal with the conversation of breaking up with Quinlan, and that's canon.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I love it. Yes. Yeah, I think outside of like the story things we've talked about, I had two quibbles, which were, first of all, there was this interview that, oh my gosh,
that one.
Yeah, I can't remember who.
It was the director. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, he gave where they were talking about how they came up with Cal as a protagonist, and he was like, "Well, we didn't want to go with a girl again because we already have Rey." And I was like, "Are you fucking serious? Did that just come out of your goddamn mouth? Like, what the fuck is that about?" There can only be one woman.
And they said that, and he said in that interview that that's also, and they didn't go with an alien main character because they didn't want to alienate players.
Yes.
Which is not really an opinion Star Wars has regarding, taking, or just sci-fi in general, taking actors of color and putting them in alien costumes or makeup. And they don't really worry about alienating those communities, those groups of fans.
God, what a great point.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
When they talk about...
And that's also another thing where they even just had that in the conversation about main characters, where so many white fanboys that think of like diversity in like Star Wars as being humans and aliens, which, yeah, I'd love to see more alien characters, but...
Of course.
You keep saying, but you... frankly, racists keep saying we need these characters and this is the acceptable version of a female character, while, say, Rose Tico or the Martez sisters are not.
Yep.
And it's very transparent, and it's bad, and you should feel bad about it.
Right? Yeah, no, that's that.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
Whenever you hear we don't want to alienate people, it's always the same people.
Oh God, yeah.
It's white gamers, and as somebody who is a trans lesbian who gets like my teeny little scraps like in like here and there in games, and even then that drives gamers up a wall. You're like,
yes.
Why I'm the one like appreciating this game while this group is tearing it apart for being SJW crap. Like, cater to us, damn it.
Yeah, right?
Like,
seriously. Like,
people, it's off topic, but folks are still mad that Ellie's a lesbian, and it's been 6 fucking years.
Listen, it's never off topic on my pod to talk about The Last of Us because this is my favorite thing, so...
So cool. Are you also sad about the indefinite delay?
Very sad. I did a pre-order and I got the Best Buy or whatever the fuck sent me an email, and they were like, they don't know when it's coming out, right? So the date that they just put into the system is December 31st, 2020, and I was like, very sad face.
Yeah. Also, the director's name I just googled as we were talking is Stig Asmussen.
Yeah, fuck you, man.
So yeah, just when you see what he's working on in the future, let's hold him accountable.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah. Speaking of the director, one other quibble I wanted to talk about was, and I've talked to friends who actually like have more of a right to an opinion and a stake in this than I do. But it was Sears Animation was not my favorite. I don't know why you do not know how to animate black folks. There was like no textures on her skin. Yeah. I was like, what what were you thinking? It was so strange and unnecessary.
They did a pretty, the facial animations and the way they handled her eyes, I think.
Yes.
It was very weird. Very Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, totally. And it's just like, you know,
where there isn't that issue with Cal or Marin or Trilla even.
Yeah.
So
yeah, totally. I mean, I was just sitting there and I was like, I bet I know how many black animators you had working on this game. But I know the exact number of black animators you had working on this game. So it was just
Yeah. Well, on that note, Jacqueline, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate having you on. This was so fun.
Oh, I was just going to say that when we did briefly talk about different directions the sequel could take. What I want to see now that Cal has pretty much every Mortis level-y force power that he's got some kind of skill with, other than healing, which I'm sure they'll put in the sequel because it's in the movies now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think a way to differentiate the sequel a lot, not just in terms of story, but also in gameplay, is if either we shift to Marin as a protagonist and use magic as gameplay mechanics.
Oh, yes. I would love to play as Marin.
And she learns more general Jedi Force stuff from Cal, or the other way around, where Cal learns some magic from Marin. I think it would not only make the story more unique, but it would actually change up gameplay so that it doesn't feel like just the same game again.
Yeah, totally.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, no, out of a sequel, I want more Marin in general, because
Marin's best girl.
Yes, exactly, because fucking duh. But also, like, I would so love to play as Marin and just be doing super cool Night Sister stuff. So,
but that was what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
No, that's very important.
But Chris, did you want anything out of a sequel that we haven't talked about yet?
Honestly, my big one was playable Marin as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Jacqueline, again, thank you so much. Where can people find you? And is there anything that you want to plug?
You can find me on Twitter at jbandos, JBANDOS. The name is going to vary from how I feel at the time, but right now it is Jacqueline knows Ahsoka is a lesbian.
Because it's a fact.
Yeah.
And also because I was capitalizing on the fact that one of my Clone Wars tweets was getting a lot of attention, and so I wanted to just put the message there. But yeah, at JBANDOS, I'm pretty active. I do a lot of shit posting, interspersed with occasional actual meaningful analysis. And my Instagram is also linked if you want to support my vanity.
I was just going to say, your shit posting is like very thoughtful shit posting.
Yes.
Like, even when it's shit posting, I'm like, damn, that is a great point.
Oh, my shit posts go through many iterations before posting.
Oh my god, I love
I
that
workshop
so much.
them.
Yes.
I'm like, I need this to not only be funny, but I need it to also be plausible. Plausibly can. Which currently at least is a running gag I have going on with Ahsoka as a deadbeat dad with numerous illegitimate children across the galaxy.
Yes.
It's very good.
God, yeah, no. And if you had any question as to why Jacqueline's one of our favorite people on Twitter, there you go.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Yep. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks to our listeners for joining us as well. Next week, we're going to be back reading some books. We're going to be starting Tarkin by James Luceno, reading through Chapter 8. In the meantime, hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr at BookWarsPod, bookwarspod@gmail.com if you want to email us. And rate, review, and subscribe to us and the Tosche Station Radio mega feed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. It's the best way for people to discover the show. If you have the means, please donate to the Tasha Station Radio Patreon and give us coffee at ko-fi.com/bookwarspod. Shout out to Andrew again from Patreon for giving us coffee this week, which got all of you some fantastic pictures of Orca, Porkchop, and Jasper. There's more where that came from if you give us coffee. Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joby Terror Design. Once again, for Kate and Jacqueline, I'm Chris. Thank you for listening to the Book Wars Pod, and we'll talk to you next week.